And hello. So, my favorite time of the week, Sunday night, is here again. Yay. And if you're watching me via the Facebook groups and I seem a little distracted, I'm not exactly. I am attempting to get jiggy with, I say that because I know Coach Nakia is going to love it. I just kidding. No, she's going to hate it. I'm attempting to use Instagram again, which we have not. She has revived our Instagram account and has been doing a terrific job with it, I might add. I have been so bombarded with Twitter recently that I have not been able to keep up with Instagram. And I know that more of our runners are on Instagram, and that's where I need to be, but that's been more than Coach Kia is. So this is an attempt to see what you guys think of Instagram Live and if this is something we need to do more of, even if at the moment I would have to be looking back and forth between camera 1 and camera 2. So forgive me while I've got a little bit of that going on this week, but I'm going to get through the weekly wins. Then we're going to answer some questions, and then we're going to get into some deep thoughts. But I take that back. You know what? I'm MK Fleming. I'm the founder of the Fitness Protection Program, and I can do whatever I want. So I'm going to start off with my deep thoughts in case I forget them, because it's been that kind of week. So if you've been with me for a while, you know how I feel about astrology. I love that it exists. I love that. But back before we had science, before we had the Google, before we had the tools to measure things or the language to express questions, what we knew was that there was a sun and a moon and other things in the sky, and they did not move. But then someone made the connection between the moon and the tides. And from there, we had an idea that something about the moon and the energy and the connectedness, one could impact the other. And the human body is 92% water. So high tide, low tide, high energy, low energy, there's got to be a little something to it. I'm not willing to categorically dismiss it. Now, that does not mean I'm looking at the New York Times every morning, or anywhere for that matter, looking for the answer or the plan or the path, because the only place you get a plan is the Fitness Protection Program. And we don't try to predict the future. We just try to make sure you have an option for any given day and the tools to pivot as the day continues, or in this case, as the year turns into a decade. So I tell you that to underscore that yesterday it was a really weird energy, as well as this previous week before. So when we were talking last week, I said, we're not done. If you're not feeling what you expected to feel, be okay with that. It's okay. It's normal. The expectation was not irrational, but this is only one small event that is behind us as we move into a rebuilding year, effectively. What we can do now that maybe we could not do before the election itself, and I'm not going to shy away from that word, we had one, and I can talk about what's happening in reference to this gigantic event without necessarily getting all political here. There's a thing that had happened, and it impacted all of us greatly, even our international clients. This is not because like America is the center of the world, but because we tried to be. We have positioned ourselves as such for a century. So when things start to go a little bit sideways, of course, everybody else is going to look. And how could they not? So with the past week, I know a lot of people, after the election results were announced or were starting to become clear, that a lot of people still felt anxious. Hi, Miss White. They still felt a little anxious. They still felt a little, they expected to feel this huge weight and relief. And frankly, most people didn't. And the few who did kept saying that over and over again. It's over, it's over, it's over, trying to get that feeling they thought they were supposed to feel. Why don't I feel better? As we said in the weekly email, why don't I feel relieved? What now? And the answer to that is exactly what's happening. And if you haven't been through a prolonged period of trauma, then it's hard to explain or express. But our people in Runner Interrupted, who have been there dealing with bouts of cancer, can probably explain this to the rest of us. And that is, just because the tumor's been excised does not mean that cancer is behind you. Now the fun stuff starts. Now the healing truly begins. Now we make sure that either this doesn't happen again, but we continue moving forward. It's pretty far from done. So what you're feeling right now, if this previous week to you has been what it has been to so many different people, and the thing that I heard the most frequently, not just in the groups, but from my friends, my running friends especially, was, I am so tired. I wonder if I'm depressed, but I shouldn't be depressed. I am so unmotivated. I am so uninspired. I had expected that everything would be okay and there would be a pivot we would reach this day and it would be done. And that's not what happened. What's wrong with me? And my response to that is same thing. It always is. And it's true. Ain't a damn thing wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. What's happening right now is that we are collectively releasing a lot of the anxiety, some of it manufactured, a lot of it very, very real, that had been leading up to this one event. And because all of the talk had been about the event and the importance and the need to get people out voting, that we kind of worked ourselves up into this frenzy. And now there's a void. Now what? Now what do we talk about? Now what's the next ball I move forward in order to reach a thing so that I can therefore feel better? And it's really hard to say, man, it's out of our hands. Okay, nothing happened until the inauguration. And then after that, we'll see. So from now, realistically, until January the 20th, what you're going to be feeling is a whole lot of what you're feeling right now. And rather it be a return to normal. Normal, I don't know what the new normal will be, and I hate that phrase. I'd like to think of it as a return to hope. We are returning to a period where we're not just looking down, trying to get through today without too much damage. We are finally at a place where collectively we can look forward with a little bit of hope, even if there are no races on the calendar in 2021. And spoiler alert, there won't be. What we can do is now start having hope that there may be a normal at some point, that day will come, that we will be addressing some of the things that have kept us off the roads, out of the workplace, out of school, out of anything that allowed us to be in the bubble before. There is good to that and there is bad to that, but without delving into all the tangents and all the complications that come along with it, what I want you to try to focus on is this. What we've done is returned to a place where we can start to have hope for the future, which means we can start to have plans for the future. Maybe that Disneyland vacation in March for spring break is not in the cards, but that doesn't mean that a road trip with your family, your immediate family anyway, is completely off the table. Maybe it means that there are some alterations, or that the things that you had been holding on too tightly will be ripped from your hands. But there's also a pretty good chance you didn't need to be holding on to those things anyway. And then in the long run, this won't be the worst thing in the world. Anyone who's engaging with this right now possesses a modicum of privilege, and we will be the least affected, even if we're unemployed right now, even if we're struggling right now, we will be some of the least impacted. That does not help. But what we can do that so many cannot is say things like, it's over, meaning the election is over, in reference to this one thing. This won't fix everything, but it will allow us to refocus. And what we have, I said in my weekly email that this is the year of lost and found. This is a year that we've lost a lot, some of us more than others. But God, the things that we found, the things that I have found, the things that I hope that you have found, we can't overlook those wins. We cannot afford to. If we're going to go into next year with a modicum of hope, and hope is really what we need in order to keep moving forward. Hope is what underpins all the training plans that I write, saying that my hope is that you will still be here with me next month. My hope is that I will still get to support you one more day. My hope is that running will be the thing that binds me to you and you to yourself and us to a future that is free from all the complications and allows you to finally celebrate who you are and what you do, free from hustle culture and productivity culture and diet culture. As we enter this phase, what feels like burnout, I want you to be really kind to yourself and just let all of that feeling, even if what you're feeling is numb, let that wash over to you and lean into it without judgment. We have been through a lot. This year, like I said, was a decade long. Do you remember the Tiger King phase of quarantine? I'm never going to stop talking about that. The Tiger King phase of quarantine was in March, or was it February? Was it April? Was it May? When did it come out? I can tell you when George Floyd was murdered, and that kicked the rest of the year into overdrive. But I have a really hard time pinpointing the events that led up to that. I know Cheer happened at some point in January, or maybe it was December, but the kids were getting ready to go back to school. Back when I was just a little bored and a little cold and still didn't care how much toilet paper I had stored in the bathroom. I could always have it Instacarted in a few minutes. So while the year has changed and taken a lot away, we are not at a point where we will be abundant again yet, where our plate will be overflowing yet. That doesn't mean that it won't. That doesn't mean that day won't come. What it does mean is that right now, we've got from now to the end of the year to sort of exhale, recover, and just let all that stuff leave your body. It's like we just completed a marathon and we're in that 2-week phase where we feel a little guilty for not doing more. Maybe we're itching to get out, but we just don't have the energy or the desire. That's valid. That's real. And to quote a really wise reindeer, you feel what you feel. Those feelings are real. That's from Frozen. Thankful that we haven't had to watch a whole lot of that lately, but that's some pithy shit right there. So take it from Disney. You feel what you feel, and those feelings are real. Lean into them, honor them. And as hokey as that sounds, honor your feelings and honor your body. We have all been taught that it's a good thing to push your body into a place where it doesn't belong, to refuse to acknowledge red flags or burnout or feelings or hunger, or do we just automatically invalidate any signal that our body sends us? And I would encourage you in this point, because I don't know when we're going to have another period like this, where there's nothing that on the calendar that you could plan. There's no artificial bullshit that could be piled on your plate or expectations that could be pushed in your direction. Only the ones that live in your head that you could pile there are what's going to show up. And I would challenge you to kick them off your plate one by one. The COVID-15, I don't care. I'm here. My clothes might not fit. I bought more comfortable pants. Let me tell you about Amazon Essentials. That shit's magic. And they don't even pay me money. I just discovered them last week. I'm like, whoa, these pants were $13 and they're amazing. And because they're not too tight, I don't feel bad anymore about sitting down. And because I'm sitting down, I'm wearing nicer earrings. I'm doing little things for myself. If you notice my eyelashes, that's the other reason I wanted to stream on Instagram. I'm like, I got eyelashes again, y'all. This is my new favorite thing, eyelash extensions. Never would have done it under any other circumstance. But I saw them on someone, thought, God, that looks good. And I went and did that thing. And this has become that period of doing that thing. I didn't want to go for a run the other night. So you know what we did? Puzzle. Because I did a puzzle in a moment 2 weeks ago when I was stressed to the max. And a couple of my friends said, you know what, you're going to sit down and we're going to do a puzzle and we're going to put your phone down. We're not going to do anything else. And for 2.5 hours, all I did was a puzzle. And for 90 minutes on a separate day, I went and got my eyelashes extended. And you know what? That puzzle was gorgeous and my eyelashes are too. And I know that there is a lot in being able to do those two things for myself, to buy a $20 puzzle and to get my lashes done. And I'm not saying that, you know, the answer to all things can be bought. But if what making you feel bad about yourself right now, is it really the 20 extra pounds or is it the tight pants? Because let me tell you about the $13 pants you can get from Amazon that are glorious. Let me tell you that there might be an easier way than blaming yourself or your body or finding the thing that's wrong with you that needs to be fixed, as opposed to maybe looking elsewhere for something that's a little more comfortable. So from now to the end of the year, I don't care if you're running. I care if you're listening to those red flags. I care that you're looking for the thing that's a little more comfortable, because that is the thing that's going to keep you coming back instead of tuning out, leaning in instead of shutting down, doing the thing and focusing instead of ignoring what needs to be done. Sometimes these are hard choices. I know I've got some hard, challenging conversations I'm going to have this week with things I don't need to be holding on to anymore. But I'm kind of ready for what's going to come after that. I hope you can get over yourself and buy a $13 pair of pants. Man, these things are amazing. I'm wearing them right now and I'm like, woo! They're joggers and they're a bigger size than I would normally get. And they are glorious. And if I tear them up, cares? If I spill something on them, who cares? I don't have a lot of stock in them. And I also am not going to sit here and feel bad about moving less when I've been dealing with more. And I hope you won't either. So that is my deep thought for the week as we get ready for a rebuilding year in this dark, dark season where we're all really tired while the collective anxiety about this one event is behind us and starts to leave our body. We can focus on the next thing that might be coming. But first, let's take a few weeks to just relax in bigger pants and not be overly anxious about what that next thing may be. But if you want to stock up on toilet paper, Not going to shame you for that either. There's my deep thoughts. I'll look at a couple of comments, and then we're going to count the weekly wins. Yay. Love you. I have hope for the future for the first time in a while, and I am truly exhausted. It's not just you. It's not just you. It is everybody. I know I was tired. On Thursday, I forgot it was Thursday, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go out for a little bit. I did something like 2 miles, and I was freezing. I was underdressed. Came back in. It was like, oh, it was my day off. Why didn't I just sit still? Because I had an opportunity to go out, and I went, and I took it. And I don't regret it. But rather, it wasn't that like I shamed myself into it. But I still kind of look at that and say, why did I make that choice? That's interesting. I could have taken a bath. For the next 6 weeks, man, if you're exhausted, take a bath. You're not throwing away the $30 you're spending here each day that you take a bath. Sorry, the $30 a month. Who spends $30 a day here? It's $1 a day. 30 days in a month is $1 a day. You're not throwing away $1 or setting it on fire if you decide to take a bath instead of run that day. That's not how this works. It's not how I want it to work. $30 a month is an opportunity to have a reset button at the beginning of the month and say, hey, you know what? This month grabbed me by the face and didn't let go. I'm just going to wait a couple weeks. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to let this month go. I'm going to be good to me. I'm going to do all the things. And then maybe I'm going to recommit on the first of next month. And maybe I won't. It's an opportunity. It's an option, and options have value unless till they're exercised or expired. And here with this subscription, it was intended to be an option that never really expires until you're done. It's not about the runs you miss. It's about the opportunity to start again tomorrow. And I would rather you focus on that as we return to hope instead of, I hope that we never go back to the normal if normal is making ourselves feel really bad about what we missed and the money we're throwing away. And instead, we're looking at what we did for ourselves and really celebrating that. So with that, if you're exhausted, rest more. Get a little more sunshine. Take your B vitamins. The sunshine's a really big thing. This is kind of my final tip, and I'm going to be talking. We're going to be setting up and sending out the RSVPs for the webinars that we intend to do the end of year webinar. That's for subscribers only. This year, we're doing things a little differently. We're going to be focusing, at least for the rest of the year, we're going to be focusing on loving our subscribers and making sure you feel well set up for next year. Because I know I've had, even though I've been tired while I've been still, I've had bursts of creative energy, and I'm really excited to throw all that your way. We're going to be doing our 2021 Looking Ahead prep webinar, same as we always do. And we are going to be doing slow burn. Thank you for that overwhelming response. All month, all year long, I've been asking, tell me what you think. And then sometimes I get responses, but not really. Y'all responded to slow burn. So yes, we're going to be opening up slow burn there. If you have already purchased slow burn in the past, we're going to honor it. But we are a small business, and we ask if you want to gift a friend, you can buy gift certificates in the shop on our website. You can gift the gift of strength and slow burn to a friend. We ask that you think about that for Christmas, or give it to a family member, give it to someone for a year. More than just merchandise, you can use those gift certificates toward the programs that we'll be putting on the website when the cart opens, but all that's going to be happening a little bit later. So put that in the back of your head. But for the rest of the year, let's just focus on taking care of ourselves, being good to ourselves, relaxing, and making plans that we don't have to execute for a few more weeks because we are tired. Go be tired. Ain't wrong being tired. Listen to that. You notice my beautiful eyes and fancy earrings. Thank you. Yay. Well, I've got the funny lights on in here because I'm trying to light up Instagram because this is an odd, awkward, really old room. And yay, thank you. I like these fancy ones too. My daughters, every time we go out in the sun, my daughter's like, Mom, sparkles. I'm like, well, yes. Why am I not sparkling right now? So I have to go back inside, and it's been a funny thing too, because I also, past couple years, got that really expensive hair dryer, the Dyson, but I've got really thick hair, and it dries my hair in like 7 minutes flat. I love that thing. It was a lot of cash, but it has saved me so much time over the past 2 years. Like, no joke, probably 3 to 4 hours a week and I dry my hair more, which is nice. But now my daughter's like, and I feel bad when my hair's not dried because I've got this really expensive hair dryer. It's the wrong way to look at it. And I never thought of it that way until earlier this week, running out the door. And my daughter's like, Mommy, sparkle. So I come back in, I get the earrings. And she's like, no, I can't see the sparkle, Mommy. Put on a ponytail. And that was such a moment. I've been shaming myself for the days I didn't dry my hair or was cheating by putting it in a ponytail because it's less work. And there my daughter's like, but if you don't have a ponytail, then we can't see your earrings sparkle. And isn't that the whole reason we go outside? And I kind of love that perspective. And I really hope that you can have a little of that to your running. Like, maybe the thing you do isn't lazy. Maybe it's what you've been doing all this time is hiding your sparkle. Yay, Cheyenne, my oldest, and the magical things that come out of that child's mouth. So here we go. Before we go any further, we're going to count up all the weekly wins for the runners in our 3 programs. We have runners and Runner Interrupted. Runner Interrupted is a support program designed to assist runners through a period of not running, be it for injury or illness, or just sometimes as a special needs parent, I can tell you life grabs you by the face and doesn't let go. And when that happens, and it's going to happen all the way through IEP preparation season, that can really suck, especially if you're doing it in distance learning style. My heart is with you, special needs moms. So with that, we've got the runners and Runner Interrupted. We're going to count up the weekly wins. Then we're going to move over to the weekly wins in our programs Build and Rebuild. Build is coming to an end and will be rolled into Rebuild. And we're not sure when the next Build cart is going to open. We're reevaluating a lot of the way we do things around here and seeing what we can do better in 2021. That is when I know we can do better. We failed a little bit on some of the new software, email communication software that we had, and I want to make sure that never happens again. So when we reopen Build, it's going to be tight as all the other programs. So I apologize for that. But Build is a program that was intended to be for new runners, or an introduction for runners who are new to the way that I do things, to the MK method. And then Rebuild is a program designed for runners who've been not running or away from running. At some point, they had a running or a fitness habit and are seeking to return to that. The difference is Build is the expectation. People in Build are going to be treated like brand new runners who are people who are new to fitness. And Rebuild, you won't be treated like the new kid. We're just going to get you back on the block and up that learning curve as quickly as possible, or at whatever rate you think is appropriate for you. The best part about Runner Interrupted is that having a coach through that period means that I can answer questions in this forum. We can keep that line of communication open, and I can facilitate your transition out of that period of not running back into Rebuild without going so quickly that you have a setback that would keep you out longer, because that's the last thing most of us want after a period of not running. Then finally, we're going to count up the wins for our runners in Maintain, which is a program for people who have a modicum of fitness that they'd like to maintain. Maintain meets your body where it's at and gives you options every step forward that you take. It is never a mandate in Maintain. It is never a mandate that you must run. It's a promise that I'm going to show up. You don't have to show up. I just promise you that I will. And we're going to be finding more ways to do that. If you keep an eye on your email inbox this week, you will receive an invitation to a Zoom. I'm thinking about possibly, I'm not saying we're throwing all the babies out with the bathwater overnight here, but I know Sunday nights are tricky. I picked this time because it was the only evening I could dedicate to giving away, and this time slot I can dedicate to giving away because it's dinner time here in Denver. It works for our Australian clients. It works for our clients in France and Norway, and it works for the most part, for our U.S. clients, while they make dinner, they can, listen to me prattle on and then come back and watch things later if they so choose. I'm now thinking of testing out something a little different so I can be with everyone a little bit more as we get ready for this rebuilding year to start. We're looking at doing 2 Zoom calls per month that would be closed to subscribers only. We'd be emailing, we would be recording them and emailing the recording out afterwards. Not saying we're totally getting away from this live stream, which I really like, but we want to find ways to reserve the interactive portion specifically for subscribers. And that's one way that we can do it. Also, I want to see you guys more. I miss it. I know that I've been too disconnected because I have felt it, and I've missed knowing what's going on with Alicia, and knowing what's going on with Brenda, and knowing what's going on with each and every one of you. And I can't do that if I'm not here more. And I wanted to find a way that I could be here more. And this is one way I could do it with these Zooms. So watch your email inbox. You're going to be getting those Zoom invitations very soon. Other FPP staff may join. It's not required. I am the only person who's guaranteed to be there during those times. And I'm looking forward to it. So you'll be able to ask questions. We can just chat. We can talk about what's going on. Sometimes, I don't know about y'all, but there's sometimes I just need to be told that where I am is where I need to be, and that's okay. And to that effect, you're right where you need to be. But sometimes it needs to be personal. It needs to be direct. It needs to be me and you. And so we can do that and facilitate a little community with a little more interaction in the form of a Zoom. So I know that is probably the last thing anybody wants is like more meetings. But I'm hoping that you'll think of this as a fun little option. Think of it like recess that you can plan. Weren't you pissed when they took recess out of your kids' school? I'm watching Amy over here on Instagram. I know you were pissed when they got rid of recess. Recess is natural. It's normal. Kids need it, and so do grown-ups. We need a break. We need to unplug. We need to step away from whatever it is we're doing and let our minds and our bodies play. And hopefully you can think of this Zoom that way. It's back what I was saying earlier. The thing that happened right now is we're going into a new moon phase. That's why astrology kind of matters. And right before that happens, it wipes everybody out. Everybody out. You can go to my Twitter. You can see a couple of the things that I was reposting from astrology Twitter the other day, and it's really funny. Like this is me taking a nap in the middle of the day, and there are gifs of children falling asleep sitting up, and that is what it has been like on not just an energy level, but it's something bigger than that. So whether or not it's connective or predictive, I don't really care. But there's something about knowing that everyone else is experiencing what you are. And hey, you know, the moon is doing it too. It can be a little sad, like, oh wow, astrology, really? Or it can be invigorating. And so I choose for the invigorating. A brand new phase of the moon as we head back towards the full moon. Think of it as a rebirth. And this was a really big one that happened a couple days ago. Or last night rather. So I'm like, yay, you know what? Week 1 election, week 2 rebirth. Maybe week 3 will be rebuild. I don't know what's coming next, but I like being able to have some sort of an explanation that makes a little bit of sense. And as far as I'm concerned, gravity's real. The pull of the moon is real. And that might be the most sane, rational, and normal explanation I have for anything that's happened so far in 2020. And I'll take it without judgment or reservation. Yay, Zoom. Okay, I'm glad you're excited about it too. I'm excited about the Zooms. I know wait, schools don't have recess. Ours still does. A lot of schools don't. There is a big push for more instruction and more time as their children. There's this idea, this comparison of children to sponges that I loathe. Like with a sponge can only hold so much, but that doesn't mean you have to like load the sponge up every single time you use it. Like I can tear that analogy apart, but there is this drive to shove more, as though teachers are the ones that need to earn that their too small paycheck. I'm not really sure, but I know that a lot of schools have gotten rid of recess to make way for more time to do things that maybe are marginally good, but are probably marginally terrible, as we're going to find out like 20 or 30 years from now when we're dealing with even more burnout than we're dealing with today. Kids shouldn't be burnt out by 6th grade. They shouldn't be burnt out by high school, but they are in massive numbers. So there you are. Speaking of burnout, if we could have one testament to this program tonight, it would be Coach Nakia, who sent me a text a couple days ago to the effect of, so I think I'm going to do this half marathon on Sunday because I was supposed to do one. And FU 2020, I'm going to do a half marathon. I'm like, okay. And I don't even like saying the distance because I feel like we put too much emphasis on distance as it is. Coach Nakia got her happy ass out of bed this morning and decided to run continuously for 4 hours and did it. She feels fine. That's what she said to me. And if I wasn't streaming on Instagram, and this just hit me, if I wasn't streaming on Instagram, I could play that message for you because it is really cute. I will save Chris. Remind me to send you the sound file. We've got to stitch it into the podcast. It is too cute. She sounds buoyant. And who goes running for 4 hours and sounds buoyant? You can worry about the time and your pace and all that other, or you can look at the totality of what she did, which is really what I urge people to do. Jesus Christ, you got out of bed and moved continuously for 4 hours without stopping. That is a big deal. That is hard. You can't fake that. Means you're not only tenacious AF, you are fit AF. And that is exactly what we're teaching here. That's endurance. That is endurance personified. Being able to wake up in the morning and YOLO a 4-hour event without too much thought or training or pressure or bullshit. So way to go, Coach Nakia, for showing us exactly how it's done here. I never would have recommended it. If you had asked me, I would have been like, why? But you knew your why because you're sentient and you're an adult. And you don't need me to tell you. You don't need me to give you permission to do things. What most of you need is for me to tell you it's okay not to do things. So when Coach Nakia said that she was going to do this, I knew she wasn't asking permission. She was giving me a heads up. And it was glorious to see her in my inbox this morning saying, so I finished, I ran out there and ran 4 hours and it was great. And I'm like, you are crazy and I love you. So congratulations. There's a big one right there for Coach Nakia, showing us what it means to maintain. It's not about all the runs you did. It's about being in a place where you've been consistent enough for long enough that you can just wake up and move for 4 hours because you felt like it, because you signed up for something a while ago and you didn't want it taken away from you and you were a little angry. And all of that, I think, encapsulates everything that I love about Coach Nakia, and I love being able to share with you guys. So congratulations, Coach Nakia. You are a badass. Weekly wins now. Moving over to these banners over here. We're going to start with Runner Interrupted. Shar Gore is planning on a turkey trot as her post-cancer goal race. She said, since our local one is canceled, my family and I are doing our own too. I'm trying to do matching bibs, so we'll see how that goes. And my mom is crocheting our dog a turkey coat. I need to see that. We need photos of the turkey coat, Shar. Photos. That's going to be insane. I remember a couple of Halloweens ago, sponsored athlete Cade shared a picture of a crocheted spider outfit that was put on a dog, and they would send it running into crowds. And I'm like, that is still some of the scariest. That still haunts my nightmares. I'm very curious to see what this turkey will do, because the turkeys that I grew up right around the corner on Turkey Creek Road. Turkey Creek was called that because there's a creek there and wild turkeys like to congregate near it. It's in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee. And my uncle lived there, and we loved my uncle and visited him a lot, but we had to get through the wild turkeys to get there and did not playing in his backyard. TLDR, fuck turkeys. They are scary. They are mean. I mean, we talked about honey badgers a few years ago, and that was a part of the cultural lexicon. I'm like, but have y'all met turkeys? Why are we murdering people of color and pardoning turkeys this time of year, y'all? I don't think you understand the real threat to humanity. It's turkeys. They're scary. But I say that. So I need to see this turkey coat. Hopefully it will not be as scary as a spider or a real life turkey. It sounds like it's going to be really super cute. Rebuild. Brenda Haskell's husband has a much needed surgery, and after a couple of rough nights, she and he both slept. Yay! Hubby slept, and Ashley didn't flop around because his nerve pain is gone. That, let me tell you, I know how huge that is. I'm married to a man with 2 torn rotator cuffs who used to roll around like this all night long like a whirling dervish. And then he became a whirling dervish with CPAP machine, and the whirling stopped. He's sleeping better. I'm sleeping better. It's kind of miraculous. So congratulations. I know what you're feeling right now. You've had good night's sleep, and you must be a little confused by that. But good for him and good for you. His nerve pain is gone, and meds are helping with the procedure pain. And the next day, she had a beautiful run in stellar sunshine, which you deserved after that good night's sleep. It's like cherry on the cake, stride sandwich for me. Amazing how you feel after a proper restful night. Yes, amazing. It is truly amazing. Congratulations. I share that with you. I feel that. Yay! No one deserves that more than you, Brenda Haskell. I tell you what, sleep is hard to get, especially when you're stressed out and your central nervous system is bombarded with anxiety. And on top of all that, you have to lay down next to someone who sleeps like this. So congratulations. That's wonderful. I wish I could give that gift of sleep to everybody. Alicia Budd had a great run this Saturday. She said she's still working back up after surgery in July, and today felt like a, finger quote, real run for the first time since then. I'm doing run-walk intervals, and they're feeling great. Yay! It was also wonderful to smell bacon and laundry. Somehow those smells just make me smile. I love that. Bacon makes me smile. Fresh laundry makes me smile. Those two smells together probably don't belong in the same air freshener, but I tell you what, both of them separately sound absolutely heavenly, and I'm glad you had both. You've had a rough year too. I'm glad we're coming around the other side of it. I'm glad you finally had a real run. A lot of my runs lately have been run-walk intervals too. I will run until I just don't feel like it anymore. My lungs are still recovering from the gas they were hit with back in August. So I don't know that my lung capacity will ever be the same or that I'll ever be the runner that I was. So instead I try to just be happy where I am and get what I need to get out of each run. I don't know that I'll be able to run, competitively or fast ever again. And rather than kind of dwelling in that, I've just been playing with it. I've been having a lot of fun personally with my runs, going out and being like, hey, so I feel you on the run walk. Sometimes it's good just to not pay attention and stop and say, you know what, we're going to walk from here and then see what I feel like next. So a lot of my runs lately have been sort of YOLOs where I take off and I just do what I want to do, and I listen to my body, and I let it lead the way. And sometimes I play Pokemon Go too, because I don't know if y'all know, today was Electabuzz Community Day. I know Carrie knows. If you're watching this, Carrie, yay! Hope you got all the Electabuzzes. My kids were super excited. Others, today is new season of The Crown Day. So we have way more watchers right now than I would have expected because there's new season of The Crown. And I'm going to be diving into that face first as soon as I can throw the kids into bed, which is happening very quickly tonight. Tell you what. And I might not be sleeping either because there's new season of The Crown at the end of this community a day for Pokemon. It's been fun, but I tell you that to tell you this, whether you sit inside and watch The Crown or go for run walk intervals, I hope you got what you needed to get today. And I hope you feel as good as you would if you walked into a home that was hitting your face with the smells of fresh bacon and fresh laundry. Yum. I still maintain that the weekly win is Coach Nakia running a half marathon, running 4 hours continuously without stopping. That is a big deal. Way to go, Coach Nakia. I love that. I love you. And man, you inspire the heck out of me because I have not run anywhere close to 13 miles lately, and I don't think I will be anytime soon. So I'm just going to watch you and cheer. Now we're moving over to the questions, starting with the questions in Rebuild. Hi, I'm unfortunately in a place with my body where I'm more of a runner interrupted than a runner. I've started doing some Pilates at home. We can't go in studio where I am right now, and it's going well. I know you have experience with it and wondered if you have any suggestions for how to have the best experience. I hate Pilates. Let me start there. And I say that lovingly. Running was my thing. Running was my love. And anything that facilitated running that ensured I would be able to run better or for longer or pain-free or if it fed my running in some way, I could tolerate it, but nothing ever quite replaced running for me. And I don't know that anything ever will. So the way that I made it work for me was a mental game. And you've heard me talk about burnout culture and hustle culture. I do not believe that good things have to be earned. If I do this, then I'm going to treat myself too. That's a really dangerous type of thinking that it flipped around. Well, I didn't do, therefore I don't deserve. And that's what I don't like. It's a line of logic that in reverse leads to shaming. And I don't like that. So that is where we tend to go because that's what we were taught to do. For you, what you want the best experience is, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? So if you can't do the thing you want to do, then the next question is, well, what can I do? And then you do that thing to the fullest. So I can't quite run, but I can do Pilates. So I'm going to do the hell out of some Pilates. And then when the opportunity presents itself, I will be able to get back to running. But that day will come faster if I do the Pilates. And if I don't, so I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to do. That's kind of where my brain goes when I'm trying to focus in on something that I don't want to do, rather than focusing on the reward, on the outcome, because we don't know how long it's going to take. I did not think after Violet that it was going to take 18 months to start to recover from that pregnancy and all that it did to my body. Well, maybe in fact it was the fourth. Maybe it was the 2 marathon training cycles back to back before it. I don't really know. It was a lot. It was a lot that went into it. And trying to separate that one thing would be too difficult. So rather than assigning blame or correlation where none might be, I just kind of focused on the what is. And that's where I am with you as well. The fact that you can't do the thing that you want to do is not a death sentence. It is not an interruption phase where you're coming back to normal. And I don't like that as well, because what you return to might not be what it was before. You might be better and stronger. Remember, I did Pilates an hour a day, like 7 days a week, for almost all of that 18 months. And then with only 10 weeks was able to ramp up and do a marathon. Not because, and I was spending a lot of time on my feet each day, mostly walking, nowhere near the running that I wanted to do until after I had my surgery. But I tell you that to remind you that Pilates will do a lot for your body. That's time you're spending on your feet. That's time you're spending working on the integrity of your posterior chain. That's time you're spending doing the thing that I beg you to do that's really hard to get people to do, which is strength with no shoes on, really working your feet and your toes in ways that will benefit you when you go out and run. So to that end, what can I do? Focus on that thing you can do and do it with gusto. And then you won't believe where it takes you. I did not expect to do anywhere near as well as I did in New York that day. And it wasn't it's not that it was a PR. It was nowhere close. It was how I felt when I showed up. It was what I was able to bring and do and deliver on that day. And I owe that to really being diligent about the Pilates and just doing them rather than complaining about them, finding excuses not to go, wasting my energy on being where I am. I focused my energy on doing the thing. So please focus your energy on doing the thing. And I think that's the best you can possibly hope for. And that's going to give you the best experience. And then when you see where that came from, at some point when we cheer you to that start line of that race, that's not going to be any sooner than 2022. And we say, I know how long it took her to get here. Let me tell you how actually tenacious this person is. That will be the moment. If you go and look at Runner Interrupted, we wrote that ebook. You can still download it on the Runner Interrupted page of the in the membership area of the website. I mean, I meant every word that I wrote in there. Someday we're going to look back and I'm going to be talking to some stranger next to me, pointing at you with pride and saying, I know how hard she worked to get to this moment. I know how long that road back from Runner Interrupted was. I'm going to be cheering for you and vouching for you no matter how many days you have to spend in Pilates between now and then. Rather than counting the days and how long it's been, if you focus on the thing and keep your head down and just do the work, that day is going to come so much faster than you think it will. Because God knows at the beginning of this year, it didn't seem like the election was ever going to happen. And now it's already 2 weeks behind us. If we need to get through this period of interruption the same way we got through 2020. And that means with a whole lot of toilet paper and maybe some pretty eyelashes, then do that. So question number 2, I'm needing some encouragement. Got that for you. I'm in a season in life where the most running I can get most days is 20 or 30 minutes. And while I love it, it's not easy to carve out that much time. I'm feeling like I'm not getting enough running to make any positive, real impact. Is there any benefit to continuing to work to find 20 minutes of running? Yeah, especially if you are in a place where COVID is rising and you're going to need to go back into lockdown. Ensuring that you keep even 20 minutes for yourself on the calendar each day, be it for a run or a walk or a waddle or a bath, I don't really care. That is time for you to be tapping out of work and whatever it is you're doing. The big secret that entrepreneurs like me I've known for a really long time is that when you're working from home, you do more work because you have fewer stopping cues and fewer meetings, not less. There's always been this perception that if you're working from home, you're not really working. And that could not be less true. And now the world is finding out exactly how much of a lie that always was. So to that end, if you don't have this time on the calendar, you might, like me, find yourself sit down to start working at 9 a.m. And then it's time to pick up the kids. It's time to, do their afternoon login session. And you're like, I didn't have lunch and I haven't moved all day long. I say even 20 minutes. I'm like, hell yeah, 20 minutes. Hell yeah, 20 minutes. Physiologically, 20 minutes is a sweet spot. When you start a workout, even if you're still in that warm-up phase, that's why for a lot of professional athletes, that warm-up phase is 20 minutes. You're maximizing the benefits, the cardiovascular benefits you get from whatever it is you started to do and the joint benefits from being on your feet. So some would argue 20 minutes is plenty, which is why a lot of strength training workouts, especially for celebrities and whatnot, are limited for just 20 minutes, 5 days a week. You can have Carrie Underwood's body. Not true, but that might actually be all the working out that she does. The same is from running. Now, if you're not, this is not like the Carrie Underwood plan, and she's doing very different stuff. But if we were to sit down and objectively look at this and not think about the calorie burning or the straight muscle building or, and think just complete of anything else, that this is all you have, what can I do? Do it. Hold on to it, because I'm telling you, think about it as real estate. Once you give it away, you will not get it back, especially if it's real estate on your calendar that you're giving to work. Then you're going to have to negotiate to reclaim your leisure time. The Adam Grant, in his weekly email, and I'll close on this today, said that what grown-ups need to do is start scheduling in leisure time and holding to it the same way we would recess. And I always said that. I believe in that, especially now that we're in a time of working from home. But this is the same guy who, despite being around investment bankers, said, like, people demanding nap rooms, you're not a child. Well, people demanding nap rooms aren't working 9 to 5s, y'all. People demanding nap rooms are doctors who are working 24-hour shifts and have been on call for 3 days straight. They're the nurses that are trying to keep things together in a hospital that's falling apart. They're the investment bankers like I used to be who are working 18-hour days and then are called right back into work the second week at home because someone else more senior than me did not want to go back. There are the people who are demanding naps aren't children. They aren't babies. They are rational, sentient humans who know what they need and are finally advocating for it in a culture that would otherwise burn them out and not care. So if you're saying to yourself 20 minutes could not possibly be enough, I haven't done anything, I say that 20 minutes could be the difference between sanity and insanity. And why in the world would you give away 20 minutes of leisure time? It's if you're working to find it, let's talk about strategies that maybe you need to negotiate either with your spouse or with your work to be able to find that time so that it doesn't specifically come at the expense of sleep, because we just talked about how important that is. But yeah, I'd say the real positive impact is that you got out of everything else you were doing, and maybe for the only time during that day were by yourself and alone. And that, my dear, is priceless. Moving on to the questions now in Maintain. I ran a race today, and as I woke up from my nap, I realized I had totally gotten out of any kind of recovery routine. Can I get a refresher on race versus hard effort recovery? Yes, you can, because one of the things that we are proposing, we're thinking of doing, and let me know what you think of this too in December, is return to foam rolling and foam rolling challenge. We've got the yoga stuff that's going really, really well, by the way. And if you have not been to the Facebook groups in a while, I beg you to go check out Chrissy and Nakia, Coach Nakia. They're doing a yoga series, and it's magic and really cool. And as we start to release a lot of the tension and the anxiety in our bodies, it can be done with yoga. It can also be done with massages or the self-massaging that comes from the mobility work. That is the foam rolling routine that I beg all my runners to do. We've gotten kind of far away from this. We haven't talked about it in a while. So I kind of want to bring it back with a bang and spend all of December mobilizing not just our mind and our psyche and our spirit, but also our bodies to get ready to do slow burn maybe in January, to face 2021, which some of the astrologers are saying going to be a whole lot harder than 2020, which whether or not I believe that or want to believe that or want to like it is what is being said. When I think about all the things that have been stuck either in my body or have caused me, because I don't know, I carry tension in my shoulders and I ride it like this and I tend to curl forward like I'm bracing myself to take a hit. If you are like that and you're anything like me, then that is very, very common in women. But if that resonates at all, then maybe it might be time for a return to mobility. And we're going to be looking at ways to sort of work it in and maybe make a challenge and a game out of it. And yeah, so we got some fun stuff coming down the pike. But I do think, let me know what you would think of some sort of a very short, very simple, breaking it up over the course of a week, foam rolling challenge for December, mobility Ember. Mobember. I don't even know. I'll let Nakia, Coach Nakia, stick to the pithy names because she's really good at that sort of thing. But this is one of the things that we need to remember, is that when it comes to hard effort, and this whole year has been a really hard effort, which is why you're tired. You didn't earn it specifically in that previous room, but you didn't need to. You were already tired because of all the stress of all the work and none of the breaks and the distance learning and the COVID and the restrictions and the do sanitize this, don't eat that, all of the rules. It's a lot. Understand that we all need a period of recovery, and recovery is built into the training plan for a reason. We have not built it into this training plan for 2020, this training plan of life, but I'm urging everyone to take it now till the end of the year as a recovery period. Run if you want to. Don't worry about it if you don't. Ask your body what it needs to get and then go get it, unless you Coach Nakia. I don't know what questions she's asking her body when she was like, can I do a 4-hour run today? And she did. But if your body feels it and you want to go, I'm not going to say no to that either. 20 minutes is better than nothing if you want to move out the door. 20 minutes is better than nothing in the bath if you just need to stop what you're doing and take a break. Even Oprah, I think, touted the idea of power naps. I don't think anybody would argue with finding 20 minutes to recover, because even 20 minutes can be 20 minutes of magic. So when it comes to a recovery routine, I strongly advise everyone to have something that they find soothing, or a list of things they find soothing, depending on how much available time you have, and do it each day. I'll show you my list. I've been working on it for the past couple of weeks, and we're going to do Romule again this year. And it's one of the things I'm going to be introducing for Romule is like all the self-care that I have cultivated over the course of this year, and I want to stay committed to throughout the course of the next year. And one of them is puzzles. I bought a bunch of puzzles the other day on a whim, and my husband and I were both really stressed 2 nights ago, and the kids were too. And we just sat together and worked on this one puzzle Believe it or not, it's really hard. It's only 80 pieces, but it's a unicorn and a rainbow, and it's odd shaped. And we all were just, instead of fighting over it, it was total silence. 6 humans at one kitchen table pushing these little shiny pieces around to see, like, does it fit here, 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 here? And we were I had the best night's sleep after that, you guys. And that was the second really great night's sleep because those puzzles had cleared my head. So I'm not going too far off the reservation here when I say have a list of things that feel like recovery. The best night's sleep ever, absolutely, I'm going to consider puzzle self-care and put them as an option on my list of recovery tools. Like, I really want to get a good night's sleep tonight. I don't have the brain power. I don't even want to listen and absorb information or sound from the television. So I'm going to sit in silence or maybe have slow TV playing in the background or a Pandora playlist. And I'm going to put all my focus into this puzzle and then go to sleep. Or I'm going to take this 20-minute, I've got this special salts that I'm going to put in and have like this eucalyptus mint lemongrass 20-minute bath as I start my wind down before bed. I don't care what your thing is, but recovery doesn't have to be a specific technique. It can be anything that makes you feel good, anything that sort of takes you out of where you are. I try to advise out, away from, I don't specifically advocate. I'm not going to judge, but I would rather I can't sit here and encourage you to drink wine or to, even though despite living in Colorado, go smoke weed. A lot of us need to be present for the people around us in our jobs, and you can't snap out of a glass of wine. We don't want to develop a dependency on running or any other thing to get us to a place, but rather if it can be an activity that facilitates a feeling that you can always jump out the bathroom, run downstairs. You can put that puzzle aside if something happens. But if we can find a short list of things that make you feel good, that bring you a little benefit and are able to distract you and take your focus away from all the noise in here, let's have a short list of those things and add it to your recovery list. I mean, puzzles to some might not belong next to Normatec boots, but I think they should. Why not? Anything that makes you feel good is recovery. So yeah, that might not be the answer you were looking for, but that's the answer you got. Can I get a refresher? Yes. Do the recovery thing. But the general rule of thumb, if you're Coach Nakia and you don't listen to me anyway, the general rule of thumb is it is 3.5 days of recovery of not running, of not jogging, of just sort of walking or nothing at all, for 3.5 days for every hour that you spent at or above race effort, which is 160 beats per minute. That's the technical, that's the formula for it. But most of us are at a point where we don't need a formula. Just, is it okay if I recover? I would beg all of you to take at least 20 minutes to do that every single day. An hour's best if you can do it. I've been a one-shoe runner for most of my running life, but I'm thinking about getting a light. So I'm thinking 1 foot. I'm like, how are you doing that? Like, shoes come in a pair. Sorry, it took me a second. I've been a one shoe runner for most of my running life, but I'm thinking about getting a lighter, less cushioned pair for races and faster runs and keeping my regular pair for everyday training. Is there a benefit to this? And what do I need to consider if I go this route? I would say there's benefit because you get to have more shoes, and more shoes is more better, and you will not go through them as quickly. The downside, as I discovered the other day, I've got some posterior shin splints right now, and I don't love it. But here's the rub. Because I have so many shoes, because I rotate so frequently, because I very rarely wear the same pair 2 days in a row, I have no idea how many miles are on each of them because I certainly don't log it in Strava. Like, today I ran in these shoes. I'm just not that sort of person. I don't have that sort of mindset, and I do not spend that much time in Strava. So you need I would advise, if you go this route, embrace it, love it. It's fun. It's awesome. I like it a lot. There was a point where I probably had like 16 different types of training. Like, granted, I was in a place where I was getting free shoes, so that helped. But I had so many shoes. Like, if I was doing a fast workout on the track or leading a group workout on the track versus one on the road, or for a short distance or a long distance, I was able to build up quite the collection, and I stand by it and I love them. Is that better? It's nice if you can do it. But the downside to it is that you'll have no idea, if you're like me, how much mileage is on any shoe until you have run 5 days in a row and you're like, why does everything hurt? Well, come to think of it, I got these shoes in 2017. So they're probably dead. Fold it up. You can see the midfoot like crack. I'm like, okay, yeah, these shoes is dead. I kid that thing's kind of important. When I take out the bottom of the shoe, or I kind of like cut it open to look at it, like, oh whew, yeah, this has been dead for a while. Kind of like some of the food in my fridge. So I tell you that to tell you this. There is a benefit, and that's like, it's fun. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Is it better? Meh. I don't know, but there is definitely a downside, and that downside is you might not know how old those shoes are until your body tells you, throw them away. And my body told me that about 4 different pairs this week. And it is very much against my sensibilities to throw out 4 pairs of shoes that look fine at once. But I have no argument beyond, I got these shoes in 2017 and it's almost 2021. But I only wear them once a week, maybe. And for 18 months, I didn't run at all. I don't actually know how much time I spent in each shoe. So have some sort of a tracker that tells you how much time you spend in each shoe, because it'll be really easy to be running in a whole bunch of busted shoes and think the problem is you when it's the shoes. And the only way to know that is to buy a brand new pair, just like I did. I'm like, oh, these feel good. I guess all the shoes are dead. So there's that. Moving over to the comments, and those are all the questions. So foam rolling. Yeah. Okay. You like that idea. So foam rolling in December. If you like that, let me know. Throw it here in the comment. Tell your coach tomorrow. Write an email and let me know. I appreciate all of the feedback. I do. I was getting, the doxing is a little bit, is more under control than it was a few weeks ago. And I have made it to the bottom. I'm down from 7,000 emails down to 139 now, unread in my inbox that require a response from me. So if you sent me an email and you haven't gotten a response, know that I'm there. I am in it. And we're trending in the right direction. Foam rolling. Yes, I see that there, Miss White. Thank you. All right. So we'll be doing I guess, Nakia, then that's like 5 yeses so far. So we'll start working on what that would look like and how we're going to roll it out, because I don't want to make a promise I can't keep, but I know that I need to start foam rolling more to you guys, and I need to get a lot of this tension and stress out of my body, and foam rolling is the best way to do it. And why not show off the lashes while I have them? Yay! And really, who doesn't want more opportunities to speak to Coach Nakia? She's awesome. Your school has more recess and lunch outside too. My little kids do, but the bigger kids I hear don't. And that is sort of a problem for me, because I'm like, that's not natural. Everybody needs a break. Everybody needs to be able to walk away, unplug, what have you. I think it's just strange and terrible when we think that somehow leisure is tantamount to lazy. That's a really scary place to be. We're not robots. We're not widgets. You feel what you feel, and those feelings are real, including feeling tired. Aaron Harkness R says more recess, lunch outside too. Then we're in Maryland and weather's not too cold. It's cold here in Denver right now, but they still send the kids outside every day unless it's actually actively precipitating, sleeting, or snowing. So it can be tough for other kids, but our school is very unusual in that way. I know that there are other schools near us who do not spend that much time outside. We just have a really cool principal. Roll it out. Yay. Got to work it out, roll it out, push it out, whatever it takes, mobilize, whatever that means to you, whether you're organizing in your community, organizing your household to make sure you get your 20 minutes of sleep, bathing, or running. Do make sure that you make space and time for yourself, that you acknowledge what you're feeling and lean into that you are good to yourself in some way, because in 2020, we've learned all the ways that humans can be horrible to each other. If nothing else you do today, I beg you to at the very least, be kind to yourself and give me the opportunity to be kind to you too, because you are coached, you are loved, and especially when you aren't sure, when you're sure you don't feel it, when you think that you haven't earned it, that is when you deserve it. And that is when you need to be reminded that you're winning at life and that you always have been. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for staying with me another week. Remember, Slow Burn's going to be opening up. We're going to be sending out emails soon to get you registered for the 2021 webinar. This is a return to hope, not a return to crazy expectations and lots of KPIs and measurable plans, but rather we're returning to something that will not be normal. It could be better, just like your body after a long break. Have a good week, everybody. And watch out, because we're going to be having a Zoom room, boom room. Every time I hear somebody say a Zoom room, I'm like, the boom room? I've never seen The Bachelor, but I'm not about to start. But there we are. That's where my head's at. May your head be somewhere better and more interesting than The Bachelor. I'm about to go put my head in the crown.